Fate is still unconscious owing to the drug Set's daughter gave him, with the monsters ravaging through the town. Meanwhile, the creatures turn their attention to Set's father, devouring him as he desperately calls for Fate's sacrifice. In the midst of chaos, Set makes an antidote, awakening Fate, who finds himself disoriented in Set's house. Set apologizes and reveals that he was drugged by his father. Fate, observing the chaos outside, steps into the battlefield, realizing the monster's formidable strength, especially when they unleash fireball magic. Armed with his scythe, Fate struggles to fend off the strong attack, discerning that his weapon is ineffective against the powerful creatures at level 27. Greed clarifies that it can eliminate the phenomenon, but the lingering fire will persist. The monsters, on the other hand, are also adapting to Fate's strategy and alter their attack pattern. Despite this, Fate manages to eliminate them. He then activates his Gluttony skill and acquires the Fireball skill by defeating them. Up against the pack leader possessing Fireball magic, fire resistance, and a level of 47, Greed advises Fate to exploit the monster's plan to use point-blank Fireball. He clarifies that the monster intends to approach him and strike with a Fireball attack. Seizing the opportunity, Fate wields his scythe and manages to cut through the leader. He activates his Gluttony skill once again and acquires the fire resistance skill this time around. The following morning, Set and Fate survey the aftermath of the monster attack, witnessing widespread devastation with only a handful of survivors amidst the ruins. Fate, examining the destroyed ground, informs Set that nothing can grow in the infertile soil. This confuses Set as he questions Fate regarding his choice to pursue the warrior path even though he possesses such exponential abilities. Fate, thinking about his unconventional skill which defies divine laws, explains that he is left with no other choice. Opting for a fresh start, Set chooses to move to a town. As a symbolic act of atonement, he requests Fate to punch him for his sins. Despite hesitation, Greed's encouragement prompts Fate to comply, delivering a punch to Set's face. With a request for Set to care for his daughter and bidding them farewell, Fate departs. Before departing for Galia, Fate pays respects at his father's grave with memories of his childhood and moments with his father flooding his mind, but he resolves to move forward with a new determination. On the other hand, Roxy nears Lanchester, receiving a caution from Mugan about the formidable Lord of Lanchester. Meanwhile, Fate travels alongside a cart driver who has hired him for 3 gold coins to ensure a safe journey. Suddenly, a group of thugs emerges, demanding they surrender their possessions. Fate positions himself to confront the goons, with Greed sarcastically suggesting he should have negotiated a higher fee. Despite Fate's confidence, the nervous cart driver clings to him, preventing him from engaging in the impending fight. Suddenly, a massive axe comes flying down from the sky, scaring off the evil goons. Mina, a strange warrior girl, emerges and informs Greed that he owes her for the kobolds. She requests them to let her accompany them and the cart owner agrees. However, as soon as she gets inside, the cart flips over. Seeing this, she commands her axe weapon, Sloth, to return to its normal state. Fate, astonished by the transformation of her weapon's weight, continues the journey with them. Mina demands an introduction from Fate and he is shocked when she identifies him as Fate of Gluttony. Mina reveals her own deadly sin skill. Upon reaching Lanchester, they witness Lord Rudolph's show of a girl's rescue from imaginary monsters. The cart driver mentions that the Lord is likely preparing to welcome the expedition of Galia. Fate inquires if he means the expedition led by Roxy, and upon confirmation, Fate is surprised by her delay. Greed, however, explains that it's anticipated due to the extensive supplies being gathered for the expedition. The cart driver fulfills his promise of gold coins to Fate, but Mina intervenes, claiming them for herself as a reward for saving him. As Fate ponders his next move, Greed suggests finding a place to stay first. Unexpectedly, Mina falls asleep while standing and Fate is compelled to carry her through the town. Along their journey, they come across 2 men who respectfully greet them. This makes him wonder if holy knights are respected in Lanchester. Noticing strange marks behind the men's necks, Fate ignores them and continues his journey. Upon reaching the gate, they encounter guards who direct him to lodging, explaining that only citizens can proceed beyond the point. Observing distinct marks on the guards' necks, different from those of the men earlier, Fate continues his walk. Another man greets him, having a completely different mark on his neck. Greed theorizes that these marks signify different social classes. He deduces that Lord Rudolph does not even try to hide his strange values. It might be because he is loved by so many people. However, Fate considers it something else. Meanwhile, Lord Rudolph mercilessly executes two men for minor reasons, one for not being able to conduct a proper ceremony of the Lord's choosing, and the other for attempting to escape from a monster hunt. On the other hand, Fate takes Mina to a room, gently laying her down to rest. Curious about her, Fate questions Greed, who discloses that they are old acquaintances who frequently cross paths. Greed further reveals that Mina's weapon is akin to his, a weapon of mortal sin. Intrigued, Fate further inquires about the deadly sin skills, prompting Greed to provide a detailed explanation. He explains that gluttony, wrath, greed, sloth, lust, envy, and pride are skills born from defying divine laws, earning them the title of skills of deadly sin and weapons of mortal sin. Among them, gluttony is particularly sinful as it possesses the potential to defy the divine leveling system. Hearing this, Fate realizes that once gluttony has tasted souls, there's no stopping its insatiable hunger, it's his punishment. Greed further reveals that everyone bears a cost in one form or another, including Mina. Frustrated, Fate questions why he must endure mockery and bullying for a seemingly useless skill that keeps him hungry and compels him to kill. Greed sternly warns him that if Fate isn't strong enough, gluttony could dominate his mind. He advises Fate to increase his strength to resist, emphasizing the need to maintain a state of near starvation. Prepared to take action, Fate ventures out at night for monster hunting, with Greed urging him to gradually satisfy his hunger rather than feed gluttony all at once. In the midst of their hunt, a sand golem emerges, and Fate, following Greed's guidance, is surprised to discover he can now incorporate the fireball skill into his magic arrow. Using this new skill, Fate defeats the sand golem, triggering his gluttony skill as another sandman appears. Multiple sand golems materialize, but Greed insists that Fate controls his hunger and takes it slowly. In the hotel room, Mina awakens feeling hungry and grabs something to eat. As she walks through the hotel lobby, her attention is drawn to a poster offering a reward for defeating the sand golem. Overhearing someone claim that not even Lord Rudolph can overcome the sand golem, Mina learns that failure to defeat it will result in certain death. Meanwhile, Fate struggles with defeating the sand golems while maintaining control. Greed comments that he's getting used to this strategy, with Fate asserting that it's almost like drinking water drop by drop in a desert. Greed then announces that it's time to satisfy gluttony, otherwise Fate will go crazy. Suddenly, Fate detects the scent of a crowned beast nearby, commenting that it will make for a fine main dish. Observing numerous warriors engaged in combat with the beast, Fate joins the fray. The warriors taunt him for becoming overconfident in facing such a beast alone. Greed also cautions Fate about the beast's ability to pull him in and crush him with rocks. Fate decides to cut through the creature and its spell. Despite the core of the beast submerging into the sand, Fate eliminates it using the bloody ptarmigan. With the beast defeated, gluttony activates, granting him the sandstorm skill. Impressed by Fate's powers, the warriors express their admiration, and Fate introduces himself as Corpse. Bard, one of the warriors, inquires if the scythe is Fate's only equipment. Surprised, Fate asks if he should acquire more gear, but Bard dismisses the notion, asserting that Fate can boost his stats by feeding off enemy skills. Returning to the hotel room, Fate encounters Mina barely dressed. Despite this, she is not embarrassed, considering Fate merely a kid. Fate, however, is insanely embarrassed while she teases him for having dirty thoughts. Mina then prepares to leave in search of some sand golems so she can get some reward. Hearing this, Fate reveals that he has already defeated the sand golems, which makes Mina extremely angry. With no other option left, Fate promises to give her half the reward, which calms her down. After getting his reward, Fate gets confronted by Lord Rudolph, who announces that Fate now serves under him. Irritated, Mina swiftly sends Rudolph flying with a single strike from her weapon, Sloth. Concerned, Fate hurriedly escorts Mina out of town so she doesn't cause any more trouble. Now that Fate is waiting for Roxy in Lanchester, do you think he can stop her from venturing to Gallia? Make sure to like and subscribe, so you don't miss out on anything.